Will the crypto bull market really end on this historical date that for the last two bull markets has signaled the start of the next bear market? And with Bitcoin now poised to break above all-time highs and go into price discovery, and Bitcoin dominance looking to fall off the face of a cliff, running into strong resistance right now, we're going to talk about catalysts that could send crypto into the next phase of this bull market, the final blow-off top phase that we have been waiting for over the past few months and past few years even, because the final stages are always the most aggressive and the most exciting. Without further ado, hit the like button. Let's get into today's video. Now guys, before we go and check out that historical chart, I want to talk about something really important, the Bitcoin chart. And I want to talk about the sentiment in the market, because we are at a very key turning point. Despite the fact that Bitcoin is now up around $108,000, sentiment has been awful. And when Bitcoin eventually breaks above highs and takes the altcoins with it, for reasons that I'm going to share with you shortly, it's going to flip the market from disbelief into belief. And you're probably thinking, well, yeah, I've been pretty bullish for a long time and markets seem to be moving where I think they are. But may I remind you that a lot of people aren't even paying attention to crypto right now. The people who are in the markets in December, January, they're just nowhere to be seen. And a lot of the people who still have been paying attention have completely lost the will to remain in crypto. And I just shared this over on my Twitter page, which is Peter_THOC. Make sure you give me a follow over there. I'm going to be sharing a lot more of the different altcoins and cryptos that I'm personally investing in right now so that you can get ahead of the curve. And if you want to stay up to date, then make sure you're following over there. Now, I shared this just a few minutes ago, where I was showing basically what this individual here was saying. Nothing against this person. He represents quite a lot of people in crypto. Bro, we're done. I have no willpower to continue believing I am selling. This is like making your way through 99% of all of the BS, all of the stress and pain in crypto to arrive at the final 1% and just kind of throw in the towel. But it's not surprising. If you haven't been in these markets before, it's a stressful, difficult time because you don't necessarily have conviction in what's about to happen next. And it's that uncertainty that means that the next move can be very quick, very aggressive, because it needs to catch a lot of people on the wrong side of it. Now, jumping across to the Bitcoin chart, something really interesting is playing out. Now, just a week ago, we were about to see World War III starting, and Bitcoin dropped all the way down to around $98,000, $99,000. And now a week later, that seems to have been forgotten, and Bitcoin is now back up at $107,400. And if you've been subscribed to House of Crypto over the last few months, then you're probably not seeing any surprise in this, because you can see that the M2 money supply simply just had a little bit of a dip here and then started to continue towards the upside. And that's what this green candle that we saw last week basically is showing us. And we are expecting to then see another green candle this week, as the M2 money supply continues to rally and will continue to rally until September so far, because this is delayed by 12 weeks and is likely to continue to rally for a major reason that I'm about to share with you. So if we are expecting that Bitcoin is eventually going to be breaking out of here, what do we really need to see this happen? Many of you are speculating on which news event or whatever it might be. Now, ultimately, Bitcoin is ready to go to the next level. There is the liquidity, the long-term holders are there, the long-term holders haven't been selling, there is very little supply left on exchanges. We are ready to send it whenever the market makers see fit, but they will wait for a suitable catalyst, a suitable news event or story that can send us over the edge. Okay, these major moves typically happen when there's a major catalyst. This was Donald Trump winning the US election, if you remember that. If you go back in time, there was various other major news events that were the catalyst. This is not really what drives the market, but it is used by the market makers to disguise the fact that they are controlling the markets, in the same way that they liquidated everyone last week and used the story of the war to basically liquidate everyone and then push the price back up. And here's the thing. We are only one catalyst away, because you can see from this chart that Bitcoin is just stuck in this range. Okay, and what is up here is very, very important, because we've been stuck in this range since back in December, pretty much. We haven't really gone much beyond it in any sort of particular major way like this. Every single time, many people have been placing short positions. And these short positions have stop losses. And these eventually build up and up and up. And around $111,000, there is something like $27 billion worth of Bitcoin short positions. And what happens is when the price of Bitcoin moves into that zone, it takes all of those short positions, which are sells, flips them into buys, and that will just be like adding gas to the fire, okay? And it will send Bitcoin very quickly towards the upside. I'm not saying it's going to go to 145k, but there's a good chance that it pushes probably towards 115, 120k, something like that. And that will be the green light to the wider altcoin market that we're back in belief zone. And let me show you this. Back last year, if you can remember, we had Bitcoin pushing up all the way up from 48k all the way to around $67,000. It was not until this point that anyone really anticipated the altcoins to move. During this period of time, lots of altcoins were doing pretty big gains. XRP did like a 4 or 5x, HBAR did an 8x, Cardano did like 6 or 7x. Many other altcoins pushed up strongly as well. This was because during this time you had belief. During this time was in disbelief. Right now we've been in disbelief, and this time will equal belief, and it can change with one single candle. And this is what we've been looking at right now, yeah? Because altcoins have been in this horrible time where they've kind of been bleeding. Every time Bitcoin bleeds, the altcoins bleed. Yeah, they've been kind of having a good week over the last week. Some altcoins like Say, 53%. Pengu up 61, bunch of others having pretty strong weeks, but they're still yet to have kind of consecutive strong weeks together since pretty much December time, right? But right now the Bitcoin dominance is running into this resistance, which has been stuck under since 2017. When this eventually breaks, and it does break once we flip bullish, once the market conditions outside of crypto flip to risk on, then everything is going to be set up perfectly. It's all coming together right at the right time. So what are the catalysts that could push us over the edge, that could push us towards the next bull market? Well, you never know. Donald Trump could drop a tweet at any given moment about something he's buying or whatever it is, usually in some sort of coordinated fashion with the market makers, etc. Not saying that he's literally working alongside the market makers, but you can tell in the past that he's tweeted things, it's had a very quick reaction for the wider markets. But personally, I think it has something to do with this. You see, tomorrow, on the 1st of July, earlier in the morning in the US, you're going to have a bunch of major announcements. You're going to have things like the ISM manufacturing and the PMI statistics. Once this goes above 50 and starts to kind of rise higher, it shows that the economy is in a bit more strength. It shows that risk on is probably the best approach. This has typically been pretty good for altcoins whenever we've seen the ISM pushing higher. As you can see, still would be sitting under 48.8. So this is only one potential catalyst. If this comes in a little bit higher than expected, this could signal strength for the market. But there's also going to be a speech from Jerome Powell from the Federal Reserve. Now, it's not an FOMC meeting, but something very significant has been happening over the last 2 weeks with regards to the Federal Reserve that isn't about interest rates or isn't about QE. Well, it is kind of about QE, and it's this. And this is from Andreas Steno. He says, "It is still an underappreciated story that the Fed just suggested to open up private credit creation floodgates yesterday. This is just the surface, equal to a couple of months of peak COVID QE. So just to give you some background, at the end of 2008, the banks in the US were told that they couldn't go over a certain amount of leverage. They had to stay under a certain amount of risk by keeping a percentage of their holdings in-house. Okay. Now, what the Fed is now saying is actually you can go and take some slightly bigger bets and inject more money into the economy to the sum of $200 billion. Now, this is the Fed basically quietly starting to bring in QE, but this is going to be a massive flood of liquidity back into the markets. Jerome Powell is telling the banks that you can go down the risk curve without him having to do anything with interest rates, with QE, etc. It's a passive easing, and it will be very, very bullish. And him speaking tomorrow, if he sheds further light on the Fed advancement plan to ease leverage requirements, this could be the catalyst that we've been waiting for. So maybe, just maybe, it's this that sends the markets pumping towards the upside. So we've got a catalyst, right? Things are looking pretty damn good, and situation changes very quickly in crypto. We are one candle away from a completely different market, and you've been in these markets. You understand how quickly people can switch from bearish to bullish. Now, when it comes to altcoins and things like that, there's a very good chance that Bitcoin leads, of course, and that you're going to see XRP pumping, you're going to see Cardano, you're going to see Ethereum. These are all basically going to see a lot of money injected from market makers, from VCs, from the companies themselves who've got huge amounts of capital. Those coins will likely rally first. And you're like, yeah, well, all the institutions are buying and only the kind of Wall Street coins will pump, that is complete BS. When you make lots of money holding XRP and whatever else, and Cardano and ETH or whatever it is that you're holding, typically you're going to start to get greedier and greedier, right? You might say that you're not going to do it right now, but you get greedier and greedier. You've got more money in the bank. Eventually, you're going to be like, well, I fancy my chances at going after like a 10x or a 20x, or maybe even that 50x that someone else has been talking about. That's when that greedy money starts to move down into sort of mid-cap, smaller cap altcoins, and that's what's going to blow up the wider crypto market. I would personally go and look at a lot of the different altcoins, ones that were pumping in December, ones that were even pumping back in like March of 2024. Because around those times, those were the coins that caught attention. Those were the coins everyone was pumping money into, everyone was getting excited about. They all rallied like crazy. I actually think, secretly, behind the scenes, that those are the ones that are going to rally like crazy again. Okay? Why? Because it seems like those are the ones that recover quickly as soon as Bitcoin looks a little bit stronger. So those will be where I would be personally looking. And I will be updating you on those kind of coins slightly later on in the week. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel to be able to catch that video. Now, the thing that you've been waiting for, the historical chart. Now, guys, I just want to say something. Just because it's happened before in crypto doesn't necessarily guarantee that it's going to be doing the same thing again. There's lots of other opinions and things that are floating around in the crypto market, and it's pretty evident if you've been involved in this crypto bull market and you were involved in ones before, that this one looks a little bit different. Bitcoin's been rallying really strongly, and the altcoins are still underperforming compared to where many, including myself, thought they might be by now. Now, what I've done here is drawn the bear markets and bull markets in boxes and the altcoin seasons in purple boxes. Now, the green bull markets are simply taken from the end of the previous bear market to the next bull market top. This is the lead up to 2017. It lasts for 1,065 days. Now, let me just show you something. Okay, these red boxes signal the bear markets, and you can see that they are interchangeable with each other. So the bear markets last for the exact same amount of time that the bull markets have lasted for. The bull markets have lasted for about 1,065 days, and then the bear markets around a year in between. So the question to ask is, well, when does this bull market on this model end? And this is for Bitcoin, right? This is the Bitcoin bull market end according to this chart. The 20th of October 2025, which, if you check your calendar, really isn't that far away right now, and it does mean that we don't have that much time left. So this gives me one of two ideas. One, that it's true, and that we are going to see Bitcoin and the altcoins finish a bull market around then. And that doesn't mean that Bitcoin still can't reach levels of like 150, 160, maybe even $180,000, and that we can't see a crazy bull market across all altcoins. Because remember, that liquidity is flooding back into the space. The market is starting to prepare for it, and often the final kind of 4 months or so of bull market are where we see the most growth. 2017 is a far more similar looking bull market to what we saw back in 2021. And that's because we had more similar financial conditions, right? We also had tariffs coming at the start, where Donald Trump rolls in, creates big tariffs, obviously causes uncertainty in the markets. We don't have the liquidity in the start of 2017 like we had in the start of 2021. In the start of 2021, we had interest rates at zero, we had quantitative easing going on, and then that ended in tightening. So the bull market probably could have gone on a little bit longer than that, but it was brought short by the potential threat of interest rates being introduced and other things going on. Right now, however, we have a slightly different situation in that we've been in extreme tightening measures with high interest rates, with aggressive quantitative tightening. All of those things are moving towards easing off, though. And if all of those things continue to push, then there's just a chance that this bull market can move on further than here. And this is what I want to leave you with, okay? Right now, there are a lot of different things that are telling you where this bull market ends. Do I know when this bull market's going to end? Absolutely not. Okay, and I know that you might not want to hear that answer, but you can go and study endless amounts of data and information. And you can go and see people far smarter than me who have far more clue about what's going on in these crypto markets than I do. People who have far more knowledge of economic environments than I do. And each and every one of these people don't agree on necessarily when this bull market's going to end. This makes it incredibly dangerous because right now you're at a very calm period in time. A nice time, okay? We're not too bearish, we're not too bullish. What's going to happen next, if and when, not if and when, when Bitcoin breaks above those highs, because it's so damn close to happening, I don't think many of you realize, you're suddenly going to get thrown into this world of like degeneracy and aping into everything, okay? You're going to get so greedy that like a 10x, a 15x is just not enough. And you're going to start pushing down to the 20x's, the 30x's. You're going to be trying more and more to ape into everything. And then you're going to be hearing about people telling you, well, this bull market's going to rage on till 2028 because of this new rule and legislation that's coming. You're going to hear other people be like, well, yeah, but Michael Saylor's just suddenly started to buy even more Bitcoin. It's going to go higher and higher and higher and higher. We've heard all these stories before. We heard it back here. Okay, we heard it back here. And guess what? These bull markets eventually ended. Bull markets will eventually end. When they end is a tricky one. It's to identify how much money you need to make from this bull market. Make it reasonable, okay? If you're trying to pay off a mortgage, great. If you're trying to pay for your tuition or your family members' tuition or whatever it is, great. Use that as your example. Use that as what you're working towards. Because when you get damn near to doing that, you need to start pulling some money out. Don't get greedy. Don't get caught up in what you want to hear. Because eventually, when it comes to here and someone starts to tell you to sell, you're just going to scream that that person's an idiot and you're not going to pay attention. Because you want to listen to the person who's going to tell you that you're going to get rich. And you're going to focus only onto the people who are going to tell you you're going to get rich. And eventually, you'll end up getting wrecked. Because this next bear market, if this bull market really is what we think it's going to be, there's a very good chance that the next bear market is incredibly aggressive. Moving towards this time, there's a lot of other variables, a lot of uncertainties. So one, start to pull profits when you start to make good money and you start to move towards those goals that you've set. That's one indicator. The second indicator is when everyone around you starts screaming whether it's too late to buy Bitcoin and you're in the taxi and he's just told you that he's been buying into Arbitrum because of, you know, the liquid staking derivative platform on that and whatever else. Once you start to hear stuff like that, be damn careful, okay? Once you start to see Coinbase, the #1 downloaded app on the App Store, be damn careful. Once you see Binance, the most trending thing on Twitter or whatever it is, be careful, okay? This is a very good indicator when bull market tops come in. This is why we know that we were nowhere near a bull market top around now, because we never know behind the scenes what really goes on, yeah? USDT. Look at the USDT market cap right now. USDT hasn't been regulated for very long, has it? Where is all this money coming from? Is this really as much money as USDT says that they have? If we all tried to sell our USDT right now, is there enough money there behind the scenes? I don't want to scare you, but there are things behind this crypto market that might be a little bit shaky, and we can absolutely have another bear market. It's got to be a little bit cautious, okay? And you are in this for yourself, no one else. All right? Just got to be a little bit cautious because people get carried away, people get greedy. This is a final reminder before we get into that exciting time, okay? Sorry to be the bearer of boring news, but it's an important one to think about while you're still nice and calm. And I actually made an exit plan video like a few months back. If you want to go and check that out, I share a lot more detail about my own personal exit plans, and maybe I'll do an updated version of that. Let me know down below if you want an exit plan video. Let me know down below what kind of videos you want me to make. Let me know if you want to know about more altcoins that are going to do better runs, etc. Let me know about different tools and things you want to find out about, whatever it is. I'm happy to help you out. Now guys, if you're looking to stock up on cryptos before the final next phase starts kicking off, then make sure you can sign up for any one of these different exchanges. Now both Bitunix and BloFin have this incredible competition on right now. And if you're personally into trading and you want to be able to share some of the rewards pool, then make sure you can sign up for each of these different exchanges and use these for your trading, because your volume will then represent your standing within that prize pool. Obviously, if you're trading more, then you'll be able to access parts of the bonus. Also, by using these different exchanges, they don't require KYC. So no matter where you're living around the world right now, you can access these exchanges and purchase different crypto coins. Unlike Binance, unlike Coinbase, these exchanges also list a lot of smaller and mid-cap crypto coins. So if you want to be able to access all of those different coins that everyone's going to be talking about, including myself, over the next few months ahead, then make sure you go and sign up for BloFin and for Bitunix, link down below in the description. Also, I still use WEEX, another non-KYC exchange. I use these 3 exchanges. You can sign up for all 3, and then you're going to be able to access all the different coins and things that I personally talk about, as well as receiving all of the biggest bonuses. Do me a favor, if you got this far through, hit the like button, really helps me out. Leave a comment down below, even if you don't want to know anything, just leave a full stop or something, also really helps me out. And if you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed so far, then subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.